Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Max Talks Movies. And we're back with a new review today. And that is the HBO Max original, the first ever HBO Max original series. And that is Love Life. 10 episodes, 30 minutes apiece. That just wrapped up today, starring Anna Kendrick, Zoe Chow, Peter Vack, and Leslie Manville. Also executive produced by Paul Feig. And it's basically about Anna Kendrick's love life, as you would probably guess, from her first love to the last love, how other characters affect her on this journey. If you have HBO Max and you have finished season 1 of Love Life, tell me your thoughts down below in non-spoiler fashion. If you have not seen Love Life, you don't have HBO Max, tell me, are you still interested in getting HBO Max, and are you interested in seeing the show Love Life? Before I start, also, this is a non-spoiler review. This is for the entire season itself. I will not go into deep details on particular spoilers, where she ends up at the end, where other characters end up at the end. I'm just talking about my thoughts in very non-spoiler fashion. So, my last video here on this channel, I talked about my review of HBO Max, and at the end of the video, it will pop up next to my head. So you can also please check that out as well. So if you don't want to check that out, in general, I really enjoyed HBO Max so far. I'm really, really enjoying it. But so far, this is the only original show that I have checked out. And I told you guys that on my last review, that this is the first ever HBO Max original series. So when I was scrolling around, I was like, should I get into this? Should I not? I'm not the biggest Anna Kendrick fan or rom-com fan. But I said, let's just get into this. And I watched the first 3 episodes. And the plan out of the gate was for HBO Max was to release the first 3 episodes on launch day and then go into once a week. But once the show got a lot of views, a lot of people were talking about this show after the first 3 episodes, then it moved. Then instead of going once a week, it gave you 3 episodes the following week, and today, in its second week since releasing, gives you the final 4 episodes. Now, it's 10 episodes, 30 to 35 minutes apiece. So that obviously helped me give a little bit of more attention to the show because it's 30 minutes. It's an easy breeze. It's not really wasting a lot of my time. Taking a lot of my time is what I meant to say there. And I was really interested because of this is what HBO Max is coming out with first. And I'm going to tell you guys, if you should watch it, if you sign up for HBO Max, to watch the show. So here are my thoughts. We're going to go from positives to my negatives, and then we're going to wrap up with the final thoughts and my score of Love Life. So as I said, not the biggest fan of Anna Kendrick. I enjoyed her in the first Pitch Perfect. And then for me, the next 2 movies, I really struggled with herself as an actress. I see her pop in things, not the biggest fan. And then last year, she was also part of a launch day of a new platform, and that was Disney+. She was the first movie to come out of Disney+ with the movie Noelle. And I actually think while the movie was average, I was really excited to see Bill Hader and Billy Eichner in that movie. She was actually by far the most energetic and exciting character and actor in the movie, and she made it worth watching. So I was like, here we go. She's back to launch another new platform with HBO Max, and she's an executive producer on the show. And she by far is the strongest part of the show. And that's from someone who's saying I'm not a huge fan of hers for the most part. This, for me, is her best performance we have seen to date. She doesn't sing in this. She's just giving a straight rom-com performance here. Now, if you were one of the ones who checked out after the first 3 episodes, I'm going to get to that a little bit. Anna Kendrick gives a really good performance here in the lead as Darby. She's quite relatable. You're always rooting for Darby to find the right man, to find the right person in her life. And you're also rooting for her friends, depending on the way that she acts around her friends. And her main friend here is Sarah, played by Zoe Chow, who also gives a really good performance, especially in those last 3 to 4 episodes that were released today. While she had one huge thing that happened to her in the first couple of episodes. These 4 were her strongest episodes. She even gets one whole episode for herself in episode 8. And that was really, really great, seeing their friendship have an entire episode. While it was nice seeing her get into these relationships, you knew that some of them weren't going to work out. And that was the problem with the show in the earlier part. But once it stayed away from every episode being named a new guy, the show, for me, got better, I would say. In general, also what the show nails, and this goes to the actors. Anna Kendrick has a really good chemistry and a very unique and different chemistry with each guy she dates in the show. Especially Augie, who does pop in mostly throughout this show. His character really works with Anna Kendrick, and you understand where their two characters go by the end of the show. As well, there's also a lot of characters who only get one episode with her, and you still feel like they're in a really good relationship and you care about the relationship. And that for me goes towards these actors. Especially for Anna Kendrick, who most episodes, I would say 75% of the episodes, she has to be dating a new guy. And for her to have great chemistry where you care about each of the relationships shows you how talented Anna Kendrick truly is. And I'm really happy that I got to watch the show because I really was down on Anna Kendrick. While I enjoyed her in both Noelle and Pitch Perfect, I wasn't a believer in the complete acting style of Anna Kendrick. And I think this show, you can tell, was a passion project of herself. Sam Boyd wrote it, and he was in the extras as well. And you see, they both really care about this show. In general, the show is very simple, which I do like. It's not very complicated. They're not trying to fool you a lot with twists and turns throughout the show about who she's really enjoying and who she's not. You understand it because it's coming from her perspective. Also, one of my favorite young actors, Griffin Gluck, gets in one episode, which was episode, I believe, 5, where they basically dive into her backstory, and her first crush was played by Griffin Gluck back in the day. And that was great to see. But in general, yes, a really fun show. The romantic part of the rom-com really, really works. Now I'm going to move into my negatives here, and there are certainly some negatives with this show. Now, a lot of people have been tuning out of the show after the first 3 episodes. Each of the first 3 episodes is a new guy. And I'm not going to try and spoil anything for you here, but not to sugarcoat it, you know where each of these episodes will end. And you know where our characters are you really know where Anna Kendrick will be at each of the end of the episodes. So I think the show has fault there because those first 3 episodes are trying to make you to continue watching weeks and weeks later. And while obviously nothing's going on, I actually didn't hate those episodes. I thought they were just average. They were very predictable episodes. You know where the characters will end. The relationships, while they were good, and sometimes I think episode 3 worked the best out of the 3 because it had a really strong message. It felt very cliched in a way. While the show is relatable at times, especially episode 3, as I said earlier, which is one of my favorite episodes of the season, the show does have its cliches in there in rom-com. Now, another negative that for me definitely knocks down the show for me is the calm part of the rom-com. It's not that funny of a show. I've heard people say reviews that they actually think the show is a lot funnier, and it's better as a comedy than it is a rom-com, and I just don't see that. I was not laughing really at all throughout the show. Sometimes I chuckle, sometimes I get that nervous thing when she's put into bad positions, but I'm not hysterically laughing, and this show for me definitely falls flat on the comedy. It really does try. It's with certain jokes, and some of the jokes are just normal conversations, but for me they weren't funny and they didn't land. And it's not Anna Kendrick's fault. I think the script really faults these actors of giving comedic performances. Because the show for me didn't really need to have comedy. It was really, yes, there can be comedy in the conversations. And the show for me heavily just puts these characters in conversations just so we get a laugh. And for me, I wasn't getting a laugh. So I can't really enjoy myself for those scenes. I think the show should have leaned way more heavily on the romance. While the romance and comedy are half and half, I think the romance was actually pretty well done, to a fact where if it was more heavily used than the comedy, I might have really thought the show was really good and a really great show to start out with. But because the comedy knocks it down, it's a rom-com, and it has to have both for it to work. And for me, it definitely has the romance, but it doesn't have the comedy. The second episode tries to add in comedy to particular situations, and also the script is very convenient. A lot of things just conveniently happen that put Anna Kendrick in particular situations. Now, after you get those first 3 episodes with guys, I think it's maybe 4 or 5, that 5th one, you get a huge halt because you get a background story on Anna Kendrick, whereas I told the Griffin Gluck storyline, where she meets her first love, and that whole crazy storyline, which if you learn after the behind the scenes was a true story, which I actually really enjoyed hearing from the creator, Sam Boyd. And then the also show goes into Anna Kendrick's relationship with her mom. There we go, as I said earlier, with her friends. Sarah really is the only friend who gets a lot of screen time here. Her boyfriend, Peter Vack, is in here, gives a good performance, but you don't really, while his relationship with Anna Kendrick is good, you really care about her, Sarah, and Darby's relationship. And episode 8 definitely nails that. Also, in general, guys, there are characters that are brought into the story that don't need to be in here. Anna Kendrick and Sarah have another friend who lives with them, and she has her own storyline. And for me, she was not very necessary. It didn't really feel like she was also living in the same place where Anna Kendrick and Sarah were. And for me, that halted the show at times too, because she would try to get in there and make a joke, but I didn't really care about her relationship with Anna Kendrick and Sarah played there. So for me, there also aren't characters, especially Griffin Gluck's character, who comes back and is adult later, doesn't really make a lot of sense. I feel like a lot of times the story halts itself to give more exposition on Anna Kendrick's backstory before we actually get to a satisfying conclusion. And that's what I will say, guys. This show has a satisfying, I would say, enough conclusion. The explanation that is given for the ending does work, but it is quite cheesy as well, especially so basically each episode has a lot of narration from Academy Award nominated actress Leslie Manville, who I really enjoyed in their nominated performance in Phantom Thread, is the narrator here in this movie, in the show. And she also has lines where they think that the narrator is adding a lot of jokes, and the narrator just wasn't funny to me. It's not Leslie Manville, she's just giving voiceover. But the narrator part of it also made the show at times feel really unique. And then sometimes when Anna Kendrick is sitting in silence, I don't really need Leslie Manville to explain to me what she's thinking. For me, at times the narrator was necessary, and she is in every episode, but then she comes in multiple times in episodes, and that's when it lost me. I love to just sit in. I don't think the show needs that much energy at times. The show can get depressing with some of the characters that are with Anna Kendrick and her character herself, what she goes through. It's very depressing at times. And every time she sits in silence, for some reason, they feel like we need the narrator to tell us what Anna Kendrick is feeling. And for me, that necessity of exposition does not work. So overall, guys, Love Life for me is a fine show. Is this the show that should sign you up for HBO Max? Probably not. Not unless you're a diehard rom-com fan. Not if your favorite actress is Anna Kendrick. But for me, I gave this show a 3 out of 5. It goes at a 62%. I was hanging around this being an average show. Halfway through, I definitely shouldn't be selling you on adding more because I watched it. I would say the 4 episodes released today were extremely solid and actually gave me a satisfying conclusion, which made this an above average show. Also today, the show was renewed for a season 2, but it is telling a anthology story. So this season will be Anna Kendrick's. I'm really interested to see who the next person is. Will be a male character, another male, a different character, a character who's currently in season 1. I'm really fascinated with where they go. I do trust Paul Feig, if he stays on as a producer. I do trust to continue to watch the show. And I hope the show does feel different in possibly more and more seasons, because you can do a lot with this premise with a lot of different perspectives, different genders, different sexualities, a lot of different stuff here that race stuff. There's a lot of stuff you can add into the storyline. And this was a good start, a solid start, because Anna Kendrick is charming. I also think the cast could get better, even though the actors are good in here. I think they could be more credible actors, especially in the lead role heading into past seasons. But I would also love to see Anna Kendrick stay on as a possible producer. I think she gives a good levity and relatability to the show, not just as an actor, but you can feel it when she talks about the show as a producer. So if they keep the same group together and the script can lean more heavily on romance. If it wants comedy, I would cast a comedic actor to take your role to also be a mix of serious and comedy. So Love Life on HBO Max. Have you seen it? Tell me in the description below. If you haven't seen it, did I get you interested in even getting HBO Max or watching Love Life? Tell me your thoughts down below. You can find me on social media on Twitter at Dinnenberg Max. The D and the M are capitalized. Instagram and Letterboxd are Max Dinnenberg, one word. Huge time here on the Max Talks Movies YouTube channel. Tomorrow, 2 huge reviews coming out tomorrow. 2 new movies. Spike Lee's new Netflix original movie, The Five Bloods, and Disney Plus's own original movie, Artemis, Fowl, directed by Kenneth Branagh. 2 really exciting movies to come out tomorrow. I'll be watching both those movies tomorrow, and they're going straight here to YouTube tomorrow. 2 new movie reviews. We haven't talked about movies in a while because there isn't a lot of movies to talk about, so I've been going into the TV land and telling you guys my thoughts, and as they're giving my HBO Max, I got a lot of good feedback for that. So the Five Bloods review and Artemis Fowl review will both be on that channel, on this channel. So if you haven't already, please like this video. Also subscribe to the channel and hit that notification button to ring the bell. So you'll be notified when I drop those videos on YouTube. So you'll be caught up whenever I post a new video. You'll get an email telling you that that's when my video is uploaded. Share the video. If you think anyone is interested in my reviews itself, that would be also really great for you guys to show off from me as well. Please support the channel as much as you can. I'm going to be posting a lot of videos this summer, a lot of new TV shows. The Politician on Netflix is back next week for a season 2, and Insecure has their season finale on Sunday, and that night I will be posting on Sunday night my full season 4 review of the HBO show Insecure. I have a lot of videos to be posting. Also have a Batman movie rankings review. Yes, I've been watching all the Batman movies, and I'm still going because I'm about to get into the DCEU. So I have a Batman movie ranking. I have an Insecure review, and I also have 2 new movie reviews for tomorrow. Tell me, guys, your thoughts once again of Love Life. Leave yourself in the comment section below. I'll write to all of the comments written below. Thank you guys so much for joining me on another episode of Max Talks Movies. I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow.